Hey everybody, welcome back to Shadow Sketch. I've been talking a lot about sketchbooks, and the day has finally come where I think I'd like to walk through one of my sketchbooks with you. Um, this is from 2022. I did two sketchbooks in this year, and as you can see, I like the larger. I've kind of settled into this size, the 8 by 12 size, and I think this was a really cheap one. I spent about $5 on this at my local Michael's. And let's just get started. My sketchbook I use is kind of like it's almost like my rough draft place. If you paint or you make murals or you do any kind of larger art, naturally that's just the logical thing. That's one of the things. I mean, you could sell artwork out of this directly, but one of the things I've never quite grown out of is stickers. Man, I love stickers. The the point of a lot of this too is, it's a place where I put what I like and what I want, and I throw a lot of things in here. My Hero Academia stickers right here. It's probably one of my uh, favorite manga. But you know, I made some of my own here. Did this like little cat here. You're gonna see all sorts of different styles in here, and we'll just get right to it. This is not a mosaic. This isn't anything intentional. This was this is me testing a lot of my markers to see if they were still viable and useful. But over here you can see all sorts of different stuff. Again, one of the biggest forms of flattery is reproduction, or copying, I guess is what they say. So I ended up copying just things I'd seen from comics that I liked. Like Johnny Storm. I'm trying to think of the artist that had this style, this really cool hip hop looking style. This was the cover of a comic that I found to be very interesting. I was like, wow, I want to hold on to this. And of course, the nefarious Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies. And what's really interesting too is as I look at some of this, look at my art. This was a piece. This page was it's taped in there. That's why it's discolored and weird on the edges. I had actually rescued this from a sketchbook that was a larger size that got exposed to some chemicals, and oh boy, it was soul crushing to lose some of that. This is some of my forays into street art. Some of them are really great, others are not. This one's kind of on the not side, but I really don't care because I love street art. Oh man, I tell you what, it is just for years and years and years. I have just, when the trains go by and I see people that have thrown pieces up on these trains, or they're throwies, or just bubble letters, and I just would just gawk at them, and just go crazy. Um, this was from a sketchbook done by a Marvel artist, Chris Bacalo, where he did the Lizard and Spider-Man. And of course, I used this as a test page for some paint and that sort of thing. But I grabbed this sketchbook in particular because in 2022 I went through it was a really rough year for me. Well, I don't know if rough is the right word, but it was a year of transition. And as you can tell, here I'm trying to come up with I'm trying to loosen up and practice and figure out my tagging style, or and some of this is just garbage, but it's cool. It's fun, and I want to share the journey with you. One of the other things that I really like is like any kind of inspirational quotes I can find. I try to keep them in here. Brandon Sanderson, one of my favorite authors, he said, "You should be writing the stories you wish you could read, but nobody has written yet." I love that. I'm a writer as well. Love D&D. I'm an old school D&D player, and this is kind of like a chibi mind flayer guy, with my Kirby crackle in the background. He's fun, little wizardly guy. Here, this was just like a weird exercise on, creativity, and just it looks like a lot of intestines, but hey, whatever. And again, my attempts at street art. A lot of times what I do is I'll see street art I'll either take pictures from trains, or I'll see pictures online, and I want to replicate the color, and I want to make my own letters. Like, I haven't really settled on, certain guys, they have their tagging handle or whatever, and it's like, and they do the same thing over and over and over again, and that's cool. And they do different variations because they love certain words or these certain letters. But me personally, I'm just like, I like finding, this is chaos, and again, it's all right. It's all right. Here I got more Kirby Crackle. This is kind of like a little homage to the Eternals. I think maybe the Eternals movie had come out, and the Eternals are like those huge godlike entities in the Marvel universe, and just kind of big, giant, crazy robots. The thing I love about having a sketchbook too, sketch diary, you could even say, is just practicing with ideas and concepts. Just taking the letter E and flipping it around, and is it a 3 or an E, or hey, maybe it's both. Maybe it's both. And again, here's some more. You can tell this marker should have made it to the junk pile, but I kept it alive for a while. And I want to give a shout out to the guys that actually do street art, who I have emulated, copied their designs and that sort of a thing. This is a failed, or I shouldn't start off with a failed thing, but this was a commission that never quite got off the ground for a Christian ministry, and it never manifested. But I went ahead and I did the mock-up, and it was originally going to be called The Depot, and as you can see, you get the cross in here. Here was me trying to figure all this out. Again, I had done photocopies. I was trying to figure out positioning. I don't know if you can tell, but I had actually cut the letters out in here just to try to position them to see how it would work. And when I did this letter E, nobody could tell what that is. I mean, you can see it if I kind of figure it out for you, but it didn't flow. And this was, I wanted this designed so you could actually read the letters, because I know sometimes it's a lot of fun with street art. It's like, oh man, what does that say? So, and again, up here, I'm playing with colors, trying to give my customer some choices. And commission work is a drag. It can be. I've done a lot of it in my life, and it is just a hassle. It's all. I'll just be honest. I'll just be brutally honest. I always like it so much more when I have pieces of work that people can buy, and it's so much nicer in my opinion. It's just like there's no haggling or whatever. It's just like, hey man, just that's what the price says. Enjoy. This is listen to Jesus. And again, I don't want to say I have my color theory all worked out, but I see color combinations out there, and I'm just like, wow, I want to try that. Where the spray artists have actually taken, they've taken the colors and blended them in such a way. And here, I got in here and cheated, and I think I used a little bit of ballpoint pen going on, but hey, who cares? Who cares? I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but as you guys keep a sketchbook, I'm particularly proud of this one. And these are letter E's right here for the word. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but sometimes like I can look at a piece of artwork, and I remember how I felt when I was drawing it. And we're going to get into some real tumultuous, some real turbulent areas here. I remember having this calligraphy pen. I still might have it. It's a calligraphy marker. And I just started going to town, and trying to come up with different letter types and that sort of thing. And this is a shout out to an old friend of mine. We worked together, and I was pretty fast moving. I'm one of these fast moving little guys. And he was like, oh, hey man, you're a busy bee. So I kind of thought, oh yeah, the BZB kind of thing. I actually took this guy and put him on my name badge there for a while. So. But here you can kind of see me just going crazy and trying to figure out, just having fun, man. And as I look at this, there's this sense of accomplishment. When you fill up a sketchbook, you guys, and I have so many of these, so many of these sketchbooks, there's this sense of accomplishment that comes over me. And again, I'm in a period in my life right now where I'm going through a transition. It's a transition time, and I look back on this and I go, oh wow, I've been through some stuff, and I'm super encouraged because I was like, wow, I went through some hard times back when I was playing around with this. I think I was watching Mandalorian. This is the way. Oh man, that cracks me up. But I've been through some stuff, man. Here's another quote for you guys. It's healthy to grow your own strengths rather than worry about what you don't have. Wow. It speaks a lot to me. It's almost like when you design a sketchbook and when you're putting all this work into it, you were investing in your future self. Not only are you building your skill, but you're also, it's almost like a time capsule, it's a piece of your soul. Yeah, I have unfinished work. This was like gonna be, I've seen other artists do this where they take 2 pages, and they kind of make one piece of art out of 2 pages, and I'm just like, I lost I lost steam on that one. So whatever. I like incorporating, faces into stuff and just having fun. I was having fun down here with, I think, some Greek letters. Well, this was a challenge right here. It was like, let's try to come up with, I had like a Rasta shark guy and an angry carrot and a little octopus with a beanie on his head. And this little, this little warrior mushroom guy, man. I don't know. Shout out to Mario Brothers and Toad, right? But that inspired me to draw this. And this thing I actually turned into a painting. I didn't finish it, but I should. But this is exactly what the sketchbook is for, man. It's to inspire you to do more stuff. Now this was actually a piece of street art that I copied. It was something like this. Just the harsh edges where the fish is biting its own tail. And a lot of inspiration out there on the streets, man. Yeah, and some of the color schemes, they work and some of them don't. Here's just an example of when it doesn't quite work. It's really crazy. Whatever. And there I was kind of in a fish phase, obviously. Fish, so got some serious lips on that fish. Here, I don't know what was going on here. I was drawing some stuff and I didn't like it. And you're in control. Sketchbook is your domain. And that's another thing is it's like, man, I don't, if you don't end up liking something, you can take stickers and put it over it, or, you can rebrand it or whatever. It's your sketchbook. Again, the letter E, love the letter E, just playing down here, trying to come up with different variations and just playing with different stuff. And I've always liked lettering. Like when I was when I was in high school, I taught myself, I guess it's Coptic or hieratic. I can't remember what the terminology is, but it's basically the alphabet and hieroglyphs. Yeah, I'm a nerd, but I used to do it at parties. I'd be like, oh, your name looks like this, and I had it down, and it was quite an icebreaker, So it's just kind of funny. Like you see people wearing those medallions, those little cartouches, and that's what they call it, a cartouche, I guess in French. It means cartridge, and it's basically Jean-Claude Champollion, I guess the guy that used the Rosetta Stone to translate ancient Egyptian, because on there they had Greek on there, and Koine Greek is pretty amazing language, and it was the Greek, the Egyptian, and then there was something else. I think there was there are 2 different forms of Egyptian and Greek, and they were able to take the Rosetta Stone and translate it. Well, anyway, Mr. Champollion determined that if oh man, I'm just gonna draw it for you. Jeez, whenever you see Egyptian writing, and it's in a cartouche. Now this is a cartouche, guys. It was like a little, it was like this, like there was a whole bunch of writing around it, but you saw something that looked like this, and it had, I wasn't planning on drawing anything, but it has the letters in it, like the Egyptian. And I do remember one thing is like this was a indication of a pharaoh, because that's the symbol of the sun god Ra. You see that right there? Sorry about the lighting. Yeah, that's Serah, son of the sun, basically. So it's like anyway, so that's what a cartouche looks like. So you'll see plenty of necklaces, where people are wearing them and they got the cartoon. Anyway, there was a period in time where I could tell you exactly what those letters were. I think I could figure out a few of them, but again, it's been a while. So shout out to the artist that picked these colors. I really like that color scheme. Again, it's really tricky when you get using marker, and sometimes it's a blast though, you guys. It's a blast. So much fun. There are wonderful opportunities everywhere. I love it. I love it. The older I get, the more I just appreciate life and being alive. And whatever this was, I didn't like it because I took and put a sticker over it. So again, that was my choice. Then I saw somebody, I think they did this star, and I don't know if you can see it, but see, it's I did that in the metallic Sharpie. It's kind of cool, right? But just having fun. All sorts of great experimentation. And I think this is when I discovered paint markers. And they're not real bold, but I've gotten a lot better at using them. And again, little areas that I never quite, just kind of the idea ran out of steam. And this was something kind of cool. I did a picture of this woman, and I thought, like when you project something onto a face or onto the thing, and it kind of wraps around. I don't even know what this says. I don't know if it was supposed to say anything, but I see an M in there, and a G and an A. Maybe that's an R. I don't know. I don't remember, but it's cool. This is actually, I wasn't raving too much about this, but I've had people ask me about it, like, wow, that's really cool. And I don't know, maybe I'll do some more of that on the channel. Here I got a little crazy gator in the water. Part of my tagging name was Bang there for a while, but then they were doing an energy drink that was Bang, and I thought, you know what, nah, I can find something better. And this word says mayhem. But the cool thing, the really neat thing, you guys, is just the relief, looking back and going, wow, this is, I don't know, this is super fun to do. This was like an indigenous phase, where I was going through, indigenous people groups, with the whole, the chin tattoo action going on. I can't remember what show I saw it in, but it was, where it was up in Alaska, and I think it was Inuit tribes, and some of the ladies had stuff going on down here on their chin. I don't mean to misrepresent it or whatever. And then of course you got the scary, goth chick, with all her piercings and set off the metal detector thing going on, but it's a cool image. Oh, hey, that looks familiar. I think we did one of those on the channel, right? But again, this is me putting my money where my mouth is, okay? I know I probably designed this and set this up to de-stress, because I guarantee you guys, there's such a payoff to coloring things. Oh man, it's unbelievable what coloring will do for you. I love it though. I love color. I love color. I remember early on in my journey, I wanted to work in, comics and be an inker, and comic book inkers, man, my hat's off to them. But doing all that black and white all the time, oh man, no, that's not for me. I love the color. This says arise. Yeah, I did some Christian tag stuff. This one isn't. This one's going back to the bang again. But again, I'm experimenting. I was wanting to experiment with different colors. Maybe I, you know, had too much of one color. I wanted to use it up. And again, it's just playing around with letters and seeing what works. It's like seeing what sticks to the wall, right? Here we go. Just playing around with that calligraphy pen again, coming up with, using a star for the letter A, putting things in clouds and explosions and that sort of thing. Oh, this was inspired by I think there's a Canadian artist, and oh man, I wish I had his name handy, but he does some really, really cool work. Oh, I'm gonna make it a point to give this guy a shout out because his work is so fantastic. It's so cool. It just speaks to me. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. And it's super cool. It's like a hand, you can see that, right? The eyeball. It's kind of weird. And and then again, there's other crazy things, just having fun with hands and weird skull faces and a little bit of Kirby Crackle in the background, that kind of thing. And guess what? We're all done. We're all done. That's it. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this journey with me. Oh man, who can tell me who this guy is? Tell me if you know who he is. Put it in the comments. Anyway, but I really appreciate your time. You guys, get yourself a sketchbook. Whether it's a large, you could get the 5x8 ones. I used to use those a lot, but I found myself just needing more paper. And just go to town. Go to town. This is just it's like a big coloring book for me. I hope you enjoyed your time with me on this. I hope you have a great week. Take care of yourself. God bless.